manner. During transport, for example, the nuclear security ensures that the transport is secure and it will provide a physical protection. And last not least, the safeguard system is there to account for the nuclear fuel. Next slide. So in conclusion, we have a system in place. There are unfortunately still the nuclear haves and have-nots, and the recent threats by a nuclear weapon state versus a non-nuclear weapon state is not helpful in this respect, and I hope that one day we will have a world free from nuclear weapons, because a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought, as it's been stated before. Next. So, yes to nuclear, no to nuclear weapons.
Thank you, Yuval, for giving this very educational intervention about safeguards, history, and current status. Obviously, I would like to add additional thing that nuclear safeguard is a very unique area, which used to have a very few female inspectors. But with agency's effort and also in cooperation with our member states, and we see more and more female inspector on the ground, because that is a very challenging task. Since you worked there many years ago, and now I see more and more women join there to contribute these very important mandatory activities. So I will maybe come back to you later. So let's move to the next speaker, panelist, Ms. Sohia Kora. You're from Africa, so you're going to address something like climate change impact on the women, health of African women.
Okay. Thank you, IAEA, for allowing us to make this session here, and thank you, WIN Global, for allowing me to come to this session. Well, I want to say that African countries have suffered long ago from imperialism and colonialism. And this colonizer have left Africa undeveloped, with weak infrastructure, with bad health, with inadequate health. And now that Africa has been liberated and the African countries are very rich in their natural and human resources, however, they are always hindered by the harsh environment which they live in. As we all know that Africa resides on the equator, and the temperature there is very hot comparatively to the rest of the world. We can see what does hot weather do. Temperature below 40 can make someone sweat. It can make him unable to concentrate, and he feels irritable. Although in the body there is a system, a thermoregulator system in the hypothalamus that decreases the temperature. However, this system has got its limits, because when the temperature is high enough, the muscles become weak, because it is broken down into myosin and potassium. The myosin goes to the kidney and destroys it, and the potassium goes to the heart and destroys it. There is increased hypertension, and there is clogging in the veins, and this causes atherosclerosis. So, and usually women are more affected than men, because they have very weak veins. So imagine now that this part of the world is hot, and then due to global warming, because of the greenhouse emission, it became more hot. And according to NASA, that the hottest part in the world is in Africa. So, actually, the 54 countries, African countries, share of bringing out the green gas is only 4%. However, 1.7 billion persons suffers from the global warming in Africa. Also, the African countries suffer from flood and drought. All over the world there are flood and drought. However, in African country, the situation is more exaggerated, because African countries have weak infrastructure, So when a flood takes place, the houses made of mud and made of timber, they are destroyed, and they are swept away with the flood. And imagine whole families become dislodged. This happened in Sudan, and happened in Mozambique, and happened in South Africa, and all families had no houses, and their livestock were swept away. And accordingly, after the flood ends, there is no cultivation. So this is a bad situation, and imagine women living without houses. Then the droughts. There is a drought also which affected Ethiopia, Kenya, and Kenya, and people suffered from famine. Their livestock were killed because there is no water, and even the aid could not even aid all the persons suffering from this drought. Also, and then when there is a flood and the drought, there is the hot weather and diseases from the hot weather. There is also bad sanitation. There is also diseases, respiratory diseases. The bad sanitation causes diseases like TB and cholera. There are vector-borne diseases because the water is stagnant, and the mosquitoes are increased, and so there is the Zika virus and the yellow fever and malaria increase with such people. Also, there is the insufficient nutrition. Because there is the reason in livestock, there is no cultivation, so people do not have adequate food. And it has been reported that by the WHO that anemia has increased within Saharan parts of Africa, and this affects 40% of women at the age of reproduction. And women being affected at the age of reproduction will bring babies not well developed, and they will suffer from miscarriage and even die. So I also want to say something which is luxury for Egypt. So global warming affected Africa drastically, and the call to stop the carbon dioxide emission is a must. I here call for the use of nuclear power plant as a solution to stop global warming, and nuclear desalination to secure fresh water. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Also here to give this insight on the vulnerability of women in the context of this global change environment. Obviously, vulnerable group need to be taken care. Their needs to be taken care. Not when people global is fighting against climate change, try to adapt this extreme weather will cause impact to all the people, and including the vulnerable group in women, particularly in the African continent. Thank you very much for sharing your thought and views on this. So let me move to the next panelist, the Rachel Aradia. She's going to talk about science, technology, education, mathematics, which is everyone's game to win the race to the net zero. Rachel.
Thank you, WIN Global, for organizing this important event, and to the IAEA as well for supporting these initiatives. I want to talk about STEM and the persistent gender bridge that still exists. We know that this has been existing for many years, and we keep discussing it, and we have developed many initiatives to overcome this, but there's still a conversation that needs to be had. Women represent still less than 30% of the science and technology careers in general in the world, and we still need to make much more efforts to close this bridge, to integrate them much more into these careers and to interest them more. And that there's this perception that women and girls lose the interest when we're around the age 14. But in reality, we don't lose the interest. We keep that curiosity. We keep that imagination that are necessary for these careers. But what we lose is the systems of support to actually go into these degrees and to actually pursue them. For the different societal pressures, we think that it's not for us, that we think that it's not something that we will be able to succeed or that we're going to be able to develop. So we need to see that this is not the truth, that we actually are more than capable, that we actually need to be integrated. As DG Grossi mentioned, the world is composed of people in all of their diversities, and we need their visions to be integrated in all the solutions, whether it's climate change, whether it's any of the many, many challenges the world is facing today. We need to have all the visions in there, and women and all the developing countries needs to be included in the conversation, needs to be included in the decision making, and this is the key that we're gonna get, like how are we gonna get to net zero, is integrating everyone and actually leaving them the space to succeed. So that is what I wanted to highlight. The key for obtaining net zero is including people and paying attention that people are capable to bring in their own opinions, are capable of doing whatever they feel, and women and girls are supposed to be part of this conversation.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Rachel, for this very precise insight on this role and how women can be equipped with the knowledge and to address this global issue, to facilitate the pathway towards net zero. Thank you very much for sharing that. So let me turn to Dominique. She's going to talk about the leadership, how women can be part of that leadership role and contribute to these global issues. Please.
Thank you. So the leaders of today and tomorrow have to deal with a world marked by transversality, interdependence, and social environmental challenges linked to the climate change. If now I ask you to point a leader, how many of you will think of a woman? And if I ask you the same question in the nuclear sector, even the answer would be more difficult. Because in addition to our general biases, the energy sectors remains one of the least gender diverse sectors. Closing this gender gap is absolutely vital for the future. It's for this reason that WIN Global has been working since its inception on supporting and encouraging women working in nuclear science and its applications, and giving them visibility that they deserve. Actually, we consider that women need to be involved in all steps of decision making in addressing the climate solutions. Their differentiated needs and their visions have to be considered when we define strategies and actions. All over the years, WIN Global, we have launched many initiatives, mentoring, training programs specifically in STEM fields, in gender issues, and in leadership and management skills development. Because these areas are key for climbing the career ladder, improving access to networking spaces, and enhancing the exchange of knowledge between generations. Women and girls, we know, are particularly affected by poverty and lack of opportunities, and by the consequences of climate change. Therefore, women must be involved in all steps of the decision-making process to address the climate crisis. Women cannot be silenced our voices need to be heard and our voices shall be heard. So in this sense, we are really working of one of our main objectives, which is to empower women in the energy sector by promoting gender equality in order to benefit from unrepresented talented women and therefore to prepare the leaders of today and tomorrow. Women have been proven to be successful leaders. For that, women should have self-confidence and trust their abilities, capabilities, and creativity. They have to take their right places between men in order to take advantage of their talent and their contribution for a more inclusive and sustainable future for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dominique, to give this very comprehensive coverage regarding the women's leadership role and what we can do. You're not only talk about the voice of women need to be heard, but also you want to let people to know that women need to be empowered. That is very important. That is what the agency has been doing, as our DG mentioned. We try to create an enabling environment for women to grow. We hope the industry and also academia will also provide this environment for women and the girls. And obviously, this is a not easy task. They need all the stakeholders to work together to promote that, to facilitate that. Thank you very much. So I will, because as I mentioned, Darhashan Gonzalez is not here, so she passed the message to Eva to deliver the message on very specific topic, innovative solution and emerging technologies to support clean energy transition, which is very relevant to this overall topic. Thank you, Eva.
Thank you very much. So unfortunately, our colleague Dori is not able to transmit her message in person, but I'm sure she's watching us somewhere. Hi, Dori. So I'll do my best to deliver your message on your behalf. So the title, I would like to mention at this stage that WIN Global has created several groups of experts, for example, in nuclear security or in nuclear medicine, or in this case in nuclear innovation. And Dori is the leader of this group of experts on innovation. And her presentation is entitled Innovative Solutions and Emerging Technologies to Support a Clean Energy Transition. And she would like to extend her thanks to the IAEA for giving her this opportunity to present on a group of expertise of women in nuclear and on the topics of this presentation. So the group is called WINI, Women in Nuclear in Innovation, and it's composed of a group of multidisciplinary experts in innovation and technology within the membership of WIN Global. And the director of the WNA, Mrs. Sama Bilbao y Leon, is actually considered the godmother of WINI. So why was WINI created? The reason was because clean energy transition will require innovative solutions and new business models. But the energy sector remains one of the least gender diverse sectors, and it is necessary to close the gender gap, in particular in this sector. So that is the other key point for the creation of WINI, the gender balance. And diversity is essential and necessary for innovation. There need to be diverse teams of different genders, cultures, seniority levels, because they are essential for solving complex problems and innovation challenges. So the main two areas where WINI is active are innovation at the service of the existing fleet to optimize operation and life extension of existing nuclear power plants, because life extension is necessary to cover the expected gap between energy capacity and demand over the next 20 to 30 years. So the research and technical innovation in the areas of irradiation effects, for example, on metals and concrete, on reactor vessels, on the internal and external parts, on the electrical cables, etc., they allow to improve the aging management programs for our nuclear power plants. And it is technically feasible to extend the lifetime to 60 or 80 years. And there are several countries which have looked at these options, for example, the US, France, Japan, or Belgium, of extending their existing power plants to those long periods of time. The second area of WINI is innovation and technology to develop new reactors and new uses of nuclear energy, for example, for industrial heat, seawater desalination, or green hydrogen production. And as you know, the new innovative Generation 4 reactors will drastically improve safety and efficiency, and also at the same time reduce the cost and the amount of waste generated. As we have heard today, SMRs will also play a crucial role in energy transition because they are modular, portable, scalable, etc., and their design allows for a lot of flexibility. In addition, SMRs could increase the efficiency of renewable sources in a hybrid energy system with solar, wind, biomass, etc. So SMRs are already a reality. For example, the HDR reactor of 250 megawatt in China, or the Russian floating nuclear power plant, the academic Lomonosov, is equipped with 2 reactors of 35 megawatts each. The high temperatures provided by some Generation 4 reactors of up to 850 degrees Celsius can serve to decarbonize industrial sectors, replacing heat from fossil fuels such as oil refining or steam reforming for natural gas, etc. Also, these high temperature reactors will have a special place in the future of green hydrogen production by electrolysis. Solid oxide electrolyzers, which are an emerging technology that will achieve an efficiency in hydrogen production of around 90% in the coming years. They are fed by high temperature water steam between 600 and 800 degrees Celsius. And the coupling of this type of electrolyzer with high temperature SMRs will revolutionize the green hydrogen production compared to the existing ways of producing hydrogen. So in conclusion, I would like to mention other technologies not specific of the nuclear sector that will be key for achieving a clean energy future, which are transversal technologies. The first one is the development and improvement of energy storage systems. Chemical, electrochemical, electrical, mechanical or thermal, centralized or decentralized, they are all essential to manage intermittent renewable sources. And secondly, digitalization, smart energy management systems or multi-energy smart control platforms, which will allow the integration of all the mentioned technologies in an efficient manner: nuclear electricity, nuclear heating, wind, photovoltaic systems, stored energy or hydrogen production, all this according to energy production and energy demand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eva, to give another special presentation from the technology perspective on this nuclear sector and the potential contribution to the clean energy transition. Obviously, you can see there are our panels. The panelists, they come from different parts. They give a very diverse views on the women, gender equity and gender equality issue. You can see that's why if we want to address the challenges or overcome the difficulties in this area, we need different parts to work together to resolve this very complicated issue in this global context. So given the time we have, I just want to take this last 5 minutes to ask each of you to give just one sentence which you think how we can address, what you think is the most important thing to address the women equality and equity in the nuclear sector. Just one thing you want to mention. I start from.
Okay. We must start with schoolgirls, inform them about the peaceful nuclear application, and try to kill away the fear from the word nuclear among the public.
Okay, thank you very much. Talking about give the message to the girls about this nuclear peaceful uses. Yeah, Dominique.
So I think that we have to attract the young talent, especially for win the female young talents, and help them to become the leaders of tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much. Young talents to grow up to be the leaders of this sector. Yeah, Richard.
Thank you. I think maintaining representations as with Global has done a great job and ensuring the path to success, ensuring that after you've entered these careers, you're actually going to be able to maintain and succeed in them.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Sustainability of the women and girls in the nuclear sector. Thank you very much. Eva.
Nuclear has traditionally been a very male-dominated environment, and the working environment may be very harsh, but there is no reason why women cannot work in such environments either, as well. And we are 50 male, 50 female in the normal society, so why not in nuclear as well?
Thank you very much. So that means women need to be brave and to be bold enough to challenge yourself to join this very challenging area, nuclear sector. So with that one, thank you very much for your participation. Let's give an applause to our excellent panelists. Thank you for their intervention, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So this session concluded.
Thank you to you, Mr. Wang.